Hey guys, welcome back for another ASMR video. Hopefully this helps you relax and you find it enjoyable. So, today I'm gonna try something a little bit different. I'm gonna be talking about the last couple of movies I watched on Netflix. And as of right now, you can still find all of these movies on Netflix. If my rambling review makes you curious enough to watch it. But I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. So, I don't have the only stuff I have written down in front of me is the names of the last couple movies I watched, the date it came out, and if there are any notable actors worth mentioning. Now, the rest is completely, I'm gonna wing it. I'm just gonna say whatever my mind, decides to spew out. These aren't like official reviews or anything. Just kind of what my impressions were of these movies. Alright. The first one is called The Last Exorcism. And it came out in 2010. I had originally seen this movie when I was in college. A bunch of us went to the theater. I was probably drunk or stoned the first time I saw this. Who knows? I do remember that I went with a pretty girl that I had a crush on. That was nice. So, The Last Exorcism. It's kind of a horror movie, but it's really not that scary. If I had to sum it up for, someone that just wants a sentence to describe it, it's kind of a modern twist on the classic Exorcist movie. There's a priest, and, he does the exorcism to get the demon out, but the twist here is that the priest isn't really sure if he believes in God. And his whole exorcism is kind of just theatrics. Like a magician, I suppose. He does tricks to, I guess collect money, and yeah. He's a holy man, but he's also a charlatan, and yeah, so he's not a real exorcist, and although he exorcises demons, he says he doesn't believe in demons either. And there's a really good quote in the movie saying that if you believe in demons, you have to believe in God, and vice versa. So the whole film kind of becomes this, a preacher finding his faith again. And I know that's been done before, but this is done in an interesting way. It's a lost footage movie, and back in 2010, those weren't like ridiculously common as they are now, so it was a good watch. And when I rewatched it on Netflix a few days ago, it was, just as good. So, yeah. There's probably less than 5 minutes of really scary stuff happening in this movie. It's kind of the perfect horror movie for somebody that gets scared easily. But the ending that I won't spoil for you is fantastic, and it makes sitting through this film completely worth it. The next movie I watched, well, this is a pretty old one, and depending how old you are, you might either not be able to believe that I haven't seen this until this year, or you won't believe that I watched such an old movie that was made, well, I was 1 year old when this came out. It's, Platoon is the name of the movie, and it came out in 1986. I was 1 year old. It has a lot of famous actors that went on to make huge things. I mean, Johnny Depp makes like a tiny cameo role. Not a cameo, but you know, he's like a background character almost. The real stars of the movie, excuse me, are Charlie Sheen and Willem Dafoe and Tom Berenger. That's the main cast, but there are so many actors in here you'll recognize. Yeah, so the movie's kind of old. 33 years, I mean, that seems like a ridiculous amount of time. But that's how old Platoon is. And it's a war movie, which I know a lot of people love, but it's never been one of my favorite genres. So, it's about this guy that's unhappy in college and doesn't know what to do with his life, so he signs up to be infantry in the Vietnam War, which is fucking, you know, something really crazy. His companion soldiers can't believe that he volunteered for something like this. Like, that he wanted to be infantry, he wanted to drop out of college, he wanted to be here. And, yeah, he's just very idealistic. And he thinks he's really going to defend his country and, you know, be a hero and fight on the side of good. But he is quickly shattered when he realizes the real kind of shit that is going on in this war. I mean, his soldiers just, you know, decide if they want to burn a village down or rape its women or, you know, just kill somebody just because they feel like it, just because they feel like they should be powerful. And when the protagonist sees this, he just decides that he doesn't want to be there anymore and that it's pretty terrible. And he feels like he made a big mistake, but, you know, the movie obviously is the movie, so he sticks it out, and the last battle is really great. A lot of unexpected things happen, and yeah, this isn't really a funny movie. It's definitely more of an action drama, but you'll enjoy it. Give Platoon a chance, even though it's really old. Also on my recently watched list is Into the Spiderverse, which didn't come out that long ago, only last year, 2018. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen it already, but given its extreme popularity. So, yeah, Into the Spiderverse is animated in such a way that everything looks like it could be claymation. Like, I don't know, it's like if there are 60 frames a second, they put 5 frames of nothing in between the two, movements. It's like almost choppy, but intentionally choppy animation makes it, look like the models are real instead of 3D animation. And this is a pretty weird Spider-Man movie. Like, they pull different versions of Peter Parker from alternate realities, and they all get together, and one of them's an anime girl and one of them's a cartoon pig. And yeah, so And the regular Peter Parker that we're used to is just, he's really old and jaded, and it's like he's sick of being Spider-Man and getting ready to give it up, maybe. Yeah, a very cynical Peter, and he's sort of the mentor of Miles Morales, who is the black teenager Spider-Man and the main character of the movie. He goes to Peter Parker to kind of learn how to do what he needs to do. He's the brand new Spider-Man on the team, and all the other members kind of know that he doesn't really know what he's doing yet. They're all kind of heroes, and he's just kind of like still a high school kid. The way they made the Kingpin look was like a giant cubicle box, and I don't know. I know the whole thing is very stylized. All the art is super stylized in this movie. But yeah, the Kingpin, I think they went overboard. Nobody has a body that's literally just a fucking square on each side, you know? It was pretty strange. And since he's the main villain, yeah, so Into the Spiderverse, a very, very funny animation that's definitely aimed towards kids, but if you're an adult like me, you'll probably still enjoy it. Especially since the animation is so unique. I've never seen anything like it before. Alright, let's move on to another movie. Alright, this one I've seen probably 6 or 7 times. Easily. And that's quite an achievement because this is not a short movie. This movie is like 4 fucking hours long, I swear. But it's a good movie, so what I'm talking about is The Hateful Eight. And this came out in 2015, and on Netflix they added the extended version, which made me watch it, you know, probably one more time than I should have. The Hateful Eight is, of course, Quentin Tarantino's 8th film. Yeah, quite cheeky how he put the number 8 in his 8th film, right? I mean, I love Quentin Tarantino movies, but sometimes he's a little too blunt. So yeah, The Hateful Eight. I've heard it described as a modern version of The Thing. Like, you don't know who the monster is in The Thing. In this movie, it's all about who's the traitor, who wants to steal the hangman's prize, you know, who's there to save the woman who's working with her. And he doesn't trust anybody, and there's paranoia and confusion, and I could see how it could be compared to The Thing. Although, obviously not literally, since this is a Western. I heard that when Tarantino started writing the script, it started out as the sequel to Django Unchained, and Sam Jackson's character in The Hateful Eight would have been Django the Bounty Hunter. And, yeah, makes sense. Except for, you know, how much older he was, but you could see that being Django. They have a sort of similar personality. So, yeah, this whole movie takes place inside one cabin during a crazy blizzard, and this guy is bringing a woman to be hanged so he can collect the bounty, and he's really, really careful. Like, he thinks everybody around him is out to get him and, you know, kill him, steal the girl. And, yeah. So, as the movie goes on, you know, you don't know who's there to save Daisy. Daisy Domergue. That's such a good name. I even remembered it. Well, of course, I've seen the movie like 8 times, but, yeah, Daisy Domergue. So, yeah, I really recommend this movie. It's fantastic, and something interesting is that after you've seen it and know the secrets of the movie, the second time you watch it, everything is kind of different for you, you know? because you know who's lying. They do things like, they fidget, and it's like little things that you missed the first time but like make sense now, just because you know who the villains are, who the good guys are, if you can call it that. But yeah, that was like the coolest thing about the Hateful Eight for me. It's one of the rare movies that's designed to be viewed at least twice, and the second viewing is drastically different, but in a good way. The next one I have written down on this piece of paper here is a really weird movie, but one I really liked and have actually watched twice. So it's called Welcome to Willits. It came out in 2017, and it's been on Netflix since then, I think. I'm pretty sure it wasn't out in theaters. It doesn't seem like a movie that would have been out in theaters. Kind of low budget, but in the best way, really. The only notable actor in the whole thing is Macaulay Culkin's younger brother, who I think is named Rory, but I'm not really sure on that. So I'm just gonna go with Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's brother. Yeah. This movie is about it's kind of a stoner comedy. At least that's how it starts. Or it starts like every slasher movie too. There's a bunch of kids, gathered together, and they're going on a trip in a van, and there's weed and drinking and partying. It starts like a lot of movies, I guess. But yeah, so there's also aliens, and but there aren't, well, I don't want to spoil anything. There are aliens, but there aren't, I guess I can say. And basically the kids are going to find this marijuana crop that's, just growing supposedly, but obviously they're going to steal it from somebody that's growing it, but that's not really important. The place where they go to do this is a backwater county, like very, very country town. 500 people or less live there, kind of thing. And it's famous for this special kind of methamphetamine. It's green or something like that, and supposedly it makes you see aliens. And there's a bunch of people saying like they made contact and they got probed, and but it's all tied together with this crazy drug. And yeah, I really don't want to spoil it for you, but there's these two people, and they think the kids are aliens, and basically they try to kill them, and yeah, but they were trying to steal their weed. It's the best way to describe this movie is a low budget stoner movie horror film, because there's definitely gore, and yeah, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's definitely a very guy movie, but I really do recommend this. I might even go as far to call it a hidden indie gem of a movie. Since it is an indie movie, there you go, right? Welcome to Willits. I kind of want to watch it again now. It's just so weird and unique. Alright, let me flip over my piece of paper. I think I have two more written back here. Two more movies that I watched, within the last couple weeks. The first one I have written here is called The Cell, and it came out in the year 2000. It stars Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Lopez, so it's got a really, famous cast. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was a Stephen King book, The Cell, or it was a famous book, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, this is like right up my alley. It's science fiction, philosophy, and existentialism, and it's a movie that can raise a bunch of questions in you, in your own life, but still be entertaining while you're watching it. Yeah, so Jennifer Lopez is this like psychiatrist, I guess, for Oh man. Like this super rich, like the richest guy in the world, like his kid is stuck in a coma. So she has this machine that lets her communicate with him in his dreams to try to gain his trust. So it's kind of like the Matrix or Inception in that way. So she's using this technology to go into somebody else's dream to kind of heal this kid and maybe make him not, I forget if he's just sick or he's a murderer, or either way, this kid is fucked up, and she goes into his dream to try to help him. And the dream sequences are just really trippy, like they're so much fun to see, and that's probably the main draw of The Cell for me, seeing what could happen in these sometimes nightmarish, sometimes whimsical sequences, kind of like the Freddy Krueger movies. Like, you know, you watch them because you want to see what special effects and, you know, where the imagination of the writers went, because in a dream, like, you know, things can go wild, ape shit, you can do whatever you want. So they decide to use this technology on a criminal, like one of the worst serial killers ever, or something like that. Like, he's a really bad guy, and the only person that's ever, you know, dived into a dream before is this psychiatrist woman. So they, you know, decide somehow she's the best person to do this, since she's qualified and everything. And as you can imagine, this guy's dreams are just fucked up, like bondage, S&M, hell, devil shit. And yeah, the sets and stuff, they just look so incredible and not of this world. They just look so alien to me, and it's really cool to see the horror dream stuff. I highly recommend The Cell. If you haven't seen it, you definitely should. It's one of the better sci-fi movies I've ever seen. Okay, so for the last one, it's a very popular Bill Murray movie, but it's one of my favorites. So let's talk about Groundhog Day for our last film. And Groundhog Day came out in 1993. And yeah, Bill Murray was at his peak here. This movie is so fucking funny. I love it. But not only that, it teaches you to, you know, make the best of where you are and how much better your life can be when you're not a cynical bastard. Like, the same person can be so much happier if they just let themselves be. And just in case you're the one person on planet Earth that doesn't know the plot to this, Bill Murray can't die. And every time he either falls asleep or dies, he wakes up, and it's the same day. And while this is fun for him at first, it quickly becomes hell, because you can see he's been trapped there for like a year living the same day, and he's just so bored. He knows everything about everyone in the town, and, you know, he really didn't want to be at this Groundhog festival in the first place. He thought it was really fucking stupid, and he was mean and snarky. And yeah, he spends a lot of time, and a lot of funny things happen. And he learns to be a much more well-rounded person that's capable of love. It's like it's a movie of somebody crawling out of their own hell and going to heaven through forced supernatural experience of having to live the same day over and over, which I guess is kind of like a metaphor. You know, every day's a bad day until something crazy happens and shakes us out of our rut. I'm sure I'm not the only one guilty of that, but yeah, Groundhog Day is a feel-good movie. You could even watch it with your family. The comedy's kind of dark. I mean, there's suicide and stuff in it, but yeah, Groundhog Day is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I think it's Bill Murray's best movie. Fucking love it. And they take it off Netflix all the time, but right now it's there, so if you haven't seen Groundhog Day, or hearing this just made you want to see it again, you could totally click on your Netflix device and watch it up. So, yeah, that was my movie ramble. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I talked about 7 movies there, and hopefully by now you're either getting really tired, or maybe you already fell asleep to the sound of my soothing voice. But either way, if you were listening to this, thanks, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you feel like hitting the subscribe button, or, you know, any of that stuff, liking the video, commenting, anything would be cool, because I've been spending a lot of time doing these videos, and it's just nice when you hear that people appreciate what you're doing. And until next time, later.